We're out camping in the desert again with a different camper this year. We've went from a Jayco toy hauler that I pulled with this tractor the last 7, 8 years, 10 years, and we've changed, or went home. It was falling apart on us, so when we got home, I stretched the frame on this tractor 5 feet, and we bought a mini Winnebago, a Minnie Winnie 24-foot bumper pull. So after stretching the frame, I put this on the hoist and pulled the wheels and cut the tongue off and mounted it on top of this tractor. So we have basically it'd be a big Class C or a small Class A. Class B maybe, I don't know where it would fit in that realm of motorhome. So we're going to show you what we did, or some of the things we did to it. The reason I did that was I didn't want to buy another vehicle. This truck only has about a little over 100,000 miles on it. I bought it virtually new, and I really like it. I'd rather drive it than way more than my Dodge pickup, any pickup as far as that goes. You can see better, rides better. So that was the reason for sticking with the tractor. And holds 200 gallon of fuel. I added another 100 gallon so I can use that in the rock crawler, being the rock crawler's diesel as well. So I wanted all the fuels to be the same. May add a diesel generator sometime, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. Part of the reason I mounted this on here was I broke my other camper apart by pulling it behind this semi. They just ride so harsh, and just the vibration, and no fault of Jayco, we was overloaded most of the time, really heavy. And in fact, when we set it down this spring, the jack come through the bedroom floor. So it was just, everything was falling apart on it. You could see the floor through the bathroom door or side. You could look down and see a crack clear to the ground. So it was just time. So we didn't want that to happen with this new one. So I mounted this one. The whole thing is set on airbags. I took airbags that I actually used underneath one of my rock crawlers years ago. They're just a pot type airbag cone. So these have about, I don't know, they've got about 10-12 inches of travel. Don't use near that much. And I mounted them on it with a Haldex valve, which is a Haldex valve is a valve that semis use to keep the suspension at a certain height. It regulates the air pressure to keep the truck at the same height. So by putting one up front and in back here in the rear, now in the front I just used 2 bags, and then on the rear, because there's more overhang, I used 4, 2 on each side, and another Haldex valve. And I just used the shocks off the semi to stabilize it. Added a limit strap so it can only go up so much in a turn. That way it won't be relying on these airbags to hold it if we turn really sharp and it tried to fall up over. These limit straps would keep it from doing that. Put a panhard bar on the frame to the trailer to keep it from swaying side to side. And actually it's worked out really, really well. It rides great. It looks a little funky if you're rocking and rolling. The camper rocks back and forth in comparison to the tractor, but it stays stable. So we're really liking that. And okay, that covered the suspension. So now we're I put on a 80 gallon, one of the 80 gallon propane tanks. I had 2 of them on the other camper. I just put one of them on this one. Didn't figure I needed 160 gallon of propane. This camper's smaller, it's sealed way better, insulated better, and I just didn't think we'd use the propane. And that's turned out to be true. We're barely using any propane at all. So that's worked out good. The next box back here contains, I'm running a Outback Inverter on the system, and I went with a couple lithium-ion batteries this year instead of the lead acid, which, man, I don't ever buy lead acid again. There's no reason to. The lithium's cheaper than lead acid by far. I'm thinking 3 times the power actually 4 times about power for the same weight, maybe even more than that. It's really quite amazing. The top of it, I had 9 panels on the top of my other camper. This one has 6 because there's not enough floor space up there or roof space to hold it. So we're running, when the sun's shining good, I'm getting about 60 amps at 12 volt. So, you know, not great, but not bad. It's we're not running a 46-inch TV in this one. We've got a 20, a little bitty, a small flat screen. So we're using very little power compared to the other one. So we don't need all the power we had before. So this is working out pretty slick that way. Okay, we're at the back of the camper or trailer. I kept the water, all the systems on the trailer that was existing, and they're all separated but connected by hoses or electrical cables. So, and underneath here I've added, this is a 202-gallon water tank because you can never have enough water. Ahead of that I put in a 78-gallon black tank and a 68-gallon gray tank. So we've got, we can stay out for a long time, and I have fresh water to wash off the car if I need to, or the trailer, or anything that way. So that's been really, and then I added a separate pump on that tank, and I just pump into the same spot at where you'd hook on with the city water, and that keeps both systems separate. So if we run out on the existing, we just go to this, and then when we go down the road, I just take that off and stow it. So that's 200, with all the water, we're 240 gallon of fresh water. So that's really handy. We did on this camper was we just used some 1/2-inch foam and bought 50-foot rolls of this magnetic strips. We put metal strips up on the around our vents and stuff and windows, and man, that works great. It really cuts down on our propane usage. We're still working on the side windows. We've got them some strips. We've got the foam cut, but we don't have enough magnetic strips. We have finished them in the living room, and we did the same thing around our air conditioning vents, so it just to keep some of the heat in. Huge difference. Just covering these windows at night, you can feel the enormous amount of the cold just stops coming through. So that's really cut back on our propane consumption. Now, I don't know if anybody has any specific questions, just leave them in the comments below, and Carrie will make me get on here and answer them to the best that I can. But anyway, anyone that's curious, that's what we did with our old camper or tractor to make a new camper.